Alright, so today I have a special video showcasing my little freshwater tank. Originally I started with the little 5-gallon tank and 2 Anubis plants. And then I added the Java moss or the Christmas tree moss in here. Originally it was all bare bottom, and then it took me a while, but I finally was able to get my favorite gravel. I'm not sure what kind of gravel this is, but it's the most nicest one I had. I'm not sure of the geology of this gravel, but if anybody knows, please let me know if there's any geologists out there. So I got these 2 Anubis plants, and most of the plants you see in the aquarium hobby are not true aquatic plants. The way you're able to tell is because there's 3 things that you want to think about. In the evolution of plants, there were 3 things that allowed plants to go into land. 1 was the development of roots. 2nd, the development of vascular tissue. And 3, the development of the cuticle, which is that waxy shit or that waxy layer that you see on leaves. So everybody knows what the roots are. But most people don't know what vascular tissue is. So if you want to know what vascular tissue is when you cut open some celery, you see all that stringy shit? That's basically vascular tissue. It allows water and food, what's called xylem and phloem, to travel through the plant. And the cuticle, like I said, it's just that waxy shit that you see on plants. And true aquatic plants, they're not able to sustain themselves out of the water. So from the plants I got the, what's called the Java moss. That's the only true aquatic plant. Once you take it out of the water, it's flimsy and it kind of looks like string. That's a true aquatic plant. But the Anubis and all these, most of the plants you see in the aquarium hobby, they're not a true aquatic plants. If you just take a pot of soil and then you plant it and water it normally, you'll see it grow a lot better. So the reason we're able to keep these plants alive underwater is because they live naturally in flooded zones. Some of these plants might be growing underwater for their entire lifetimes. But like I said, they'll do a lot better outside of the water. So I had different types of fish in here. I had some cardinals, some fiddler crabs, some angels. I had a whole bunch of different fish just to test them out. So if you look at the plants, originally they didn't have that many roots. And then I decided not to take out the little black plastic pot where they came in. But even then, they started developing real thick root structures once I changed the lights to LEDs. The original stock light is not strong enough, but if you want to grow a lot of your roots and a lot of your plants, you want to upgrade your lighting. So I got 2 different species of Anubis. One of them tends to grow straight upward, and then the other one tends to grow like horizontally, following the gravel. So these plants took a long time to grow. So what I did is that I updated the lighting, and then you saw the roots grow. Once the roots grow, you could tell that the plant's basically going to live. I don't really trim the plants, but I probably should. But I just leave all the leaves growing, and if they die off, they die off. I really don't change much to this aquarium. I don't really change as much water as I probably should. I just let everything kind of just settle in. One of my favorite fish in this tank is the little pleco, the albino bristlenose. It started with a little baby, and then it grew to the size that it is right now. Also, I had a little SpongeBob submarine, but one of the plecos died in it, so then I decided to take it out because the fish was starting to grow pretty big. So instead, I added the crocodile head and the little sunken treasure chest looking thing. It's been a couple years, but eventually the rocks and the plants kind of took over. These plants, they didn't grow like that quick overnight or even in 1 year. It took a couple years to grow them this big. But as you see, this is the 20-gallon tank, and the whole tank's being covered with the whole Anubis plants. And then at the bottom, you see all the Java moss or the Christmas tree moss. So this tank is being run through an overhang filter along with the preset heater. The heater is a little underrated, but it's still able to keep the tank around 74 degrees in the winter. Another cool thing, I was able to breed the Panda Cory cats. There was a whole bunch of little babies in here, and then eventually we just had to feed them, and then they grew. I never knew they were in here until I was able to move the Java moss, and I saw a whole bunch of babies floating around. So maintenance is pretty easy. Like I said, I just scrubbed the glass. It's not as bad as saltwater. The saltwater algae tend to really stick on the glass, and it's hard to remove them. But in freshwater, the algae grow pretty easy, and they're pretty easy to remove. Honestly, I don't really need to do a lot of maintenance work on this freshwater. Like I said, this is just me cleaning it just for the view and for the final shots of this video. But honestly, I really don't even clean the glass. Honestly, freshwater plants and freshwater tanks are pretty easy to keep. Like I said, you just gotta gravel vac your sand bed. And if you have like goldfish or something like that, you definitely gotta gravel vac a lot more. And like I said, we started with a little 5 gallon and then we upgraded it to a 20 tall. And like I said, it's a pretty cool little tank. I'm eventually going to add more neon tetras in here. The cardinals died, but since there's already neon tetras in here, I'm just going to stick with the neons. I kind of like the cardinals a lot more. I like to see the red throughout the whole body. But neon tetras are pretty cool too. Also, I forgot, I think there's some rams in here. I forgot that I added them, but there are 2 male rams in here. I might pair them up with the females or something, but I'm not sure. So you see, even over time, the Anubis plants grew and they're able to touch the surface of the water. But like I said, it took a long time. It took about a couple years to grow them this big. And if you're struggling to keep the Anubis or a lot of freshwater plants, like I said, just pot them in soil in a little flower pot and then just water them normally like a regular plant. So I don't run any CO2. There's nothing special about this tank. All it is just a little power head. I mean, the little filter box or the little hang-on filter with a little heater, and that's pretty much it. I always overfeed the aquarium. That way the plants have a little bit extra nutrients, and then also the fish could just find their food or even scavenge, especially for the little Cory cats and the plecos. So I'm not sure what kind of fish I want to add. I'm thinking about just adding a whole bunch of neon tetras. But if you have any suggestions, please leave the comments below, and then I'll try to get those fish and add them in here. I'm really more into like breeding fish, so I might just, like I said, I might just get some neon tetras and see if they'll breed in the moss. But that's pretty much it of the end of this video. And like I said, I hope you enjoyed it, and just let you know that these freshwater tanks, they take a little while to really mature. So if yours looks pretty new, just give it some time. And like I said, everything will happen. And honestly, it's not like as bad as trying to grow your corals and you're always worried about them dying every day. For water changes, I use purified water. I use reverse osmosis, but I add the salts or the minerals back into the water. So that's just something you might want to take into consideration. So if you look at my previous videos, there's more videos of this little aquarium. And like I said, you just gotta follow me and then subscribe. And then make sure you hit the notifications so you can catch future updates. Well, thank you for watching, guys.